Hi class, my name is Jordan Rao, and I will be presenting on Chapter 3. The question I chose is number 3, and the question is, this chapter lists the 6 characteristics of systems in the hospitality and travel industry as openness, complexity, and variety, responsiveness, competitiveness, interdependency, and friction and disharmony. Identify 3 real-life examples of indications of these characteristics in our industry. The 6 characteristics I just want to go over again are openness, complexity and variety, responsiveness, competitiveness, interdependency, friction, and disharmony. So it describes the characteristics of systems, and the system is a collection of interrelated parts that work together to achieve common objectives. The book describes it as a car. All of the parts of the car have to work together in order for the car to get going and actually work. In the hospitality and travel industry, chain departments make up this system that's referred to as a car. So in order for you to understand all of these, I'm going to explain each one so that you can understand my examples. The first one is openness. And openness is dynamic, constantly changing, and creativity is key. These changes are because of the economy, environmental, or possibly life-threatening. For example, if the economy is doing really well and the stock market's going up, people will want to spend more money on vacations and all sorts of stuff. Environmental would be stuff that's happening around the city. If the city is expanding, then more businesses will grow. It creates a more open economy and stuff like that. Threatening examples would be a hurricane or a tornado, something like that. The next characteristic is complexity and variety. And complexity and variety is all of the different types of companies and businesses within this industry. And they can either be small or large conglomerates. These interrelationships are very complex and extremely necessary in order for all of these to work. The next one would be responsiveness. The industry must change when change happens. This ever-changing industry makes for quick and rapid decisions. Feedback is also really important too, and responsiveness can come from, online resources and what have you. The next one would be interdependency. And interdependency are all of these suppliers, carriers, and travel companies that are all separate, but they all depend on one another based on their functions and stuff like that. Each complement one each other, as I just described. Relationship marketing is key to building long-term relationships. An example of a supplier would be a theme park. An example of a carrier would be airlines. And an example of a travel company would be a retail travel agency. Each of these theme parks and airlines need to build relationship marketing relationships with another long-term in order to create more distribution chains. The final one is friction and disharmony, and this has to do with conflict, stress, and tension within the relationship between the two companies. An example of this would be if a meeting company were to book a meeting at a country club and there was a no-show, then that relationship is now strained. Now, to get back to the question, which was what are real-life examples of all of these characteristics? The first one is an example of Hurricane Charlie, and those characteristics fall under openness and friction and disharmony. I chose Hurricane Charlie because I was in it back in 2004. I was a little girl, and I was in an airport, and my flight was the last flight to leave that night. Another real-life example would be the Westin Denver Hotel up at DIA. A characteristic of this is competitiveness. This airport has been open for 4 years now, and it's been doing pretty well from what I've heard. I chose the Westin Denver Hotel because it is near to my house, and I've been hearing about this hotel for a lot of years now, so it's been sparking my interest for that long. But I have not gone there yet, but one day I hope to. The next real-life example that I want to go over is technology. Technology is always in our lives, especially in this era. I think that technology falls under responsiveness and interdependency. The first real-life example, Hurricane Charlie, happened back in 2004 off the coast of Florida. Some facts about this are that wind gusts were up to 100 miles per hour and above. Towering oak trees toppled over power lines and roads, and everything just stopped because of the damage, and 165,000 businesses and homes were damaged. Those are just some facts that I want to go over really quickly just to remind you about Hurricane Charlie. The next subject I want to go over is who did it affect. It affected Disney World, airports, schools, and hotels. Mostly it affected hotels because hotels have their own power generators, so they were able to supply a lot of people with a roof over their heads so they can stay warm while their areas were being cleaned up and their houses were being remodeled and demolished. The characteristics that fall under Hurricane Charlie is openness. This hurricane is definitely life-threatening, and it's environmental too, because the environment around the locals in Florida definitely were affected. These were obviously constant changes, and the people around had to adapt, and hotels had to adapt to a slowdown of their industry. This was definitely challenging for any hotel or resort that was in that area, including Disney World. The next characteristic is friction and disharmony. There were conflict in vacation plans, there was a lot of stress in money and getting the city restored, and there was a lot of tension through those repairs. All of those meetings that were booked at those hotels had to be canceled, which would put a strain on that relationship, which falls under the characteristic of friction and disharmony. This is my source for Hurricane Charlie. You're welcome to go to that link. Real life example would be the Westin Denver Hotel and Transit Center. Some facts about this new hotel, 4-year-old hotel, is that it's LEED certified. It has 82,000 square feet, 519 rooms, and 58.3 million travelers go through DIA a year. Westin Denver Hotel is an example of competitiveness. New organizations like this set a higher standard for hotels, especially those within the area. Location is a major factor which will increase revenue and guests. Location is very important because, as I said, there are 58.3 million travelers who go through this airport every day, and I'd imagine that they want to stay at a hotel so they don't have to have an 18-hour flight or shorter. Competitive power will overthrow some of the hotels closer to downtown Denver. The light rail now runs to downtown Denver, and I'd imagine that it has stopped some of that traffic going downtown and just staying at the Westin, which is much closer to the airport. And people are more able to get to the airport on time because it's right across the street, sort of. Other benefits of the Westin having such a good location is that it connects the region to the airport. And it is a one-of-a-kind airport experience as described in the small article. This is my source for the Westin. You're welcome to look at it. The next real-life example is technology and technology advancements. It is ever so changing the hospitality industry because of reviews online, pictures of the hotel, more research in articles and random websites. Check-in and check-out is easily accessible, and there's a quick exchange of information, especially if it's on Yelp or YouTube. People are able to get information a lot quicker than they used to be. Yeah, and characteristics would be responsiveness. Changes must be implemented and quick. A new competition is every single day. And interdependency also is technology. Apps such as Yelp depend on hospitality industries to get those reviews out there and have people reply with feedback. Cause and effect can either be good or bad. Yelp reviews can be really helpful sometimes and others not so helpful. And because of this, hotels must work that much harder to explain themselves and reach out to customers if they had a bad experience. It also affects where we spend our money for services, depending on the location, price, service quality, and things that are included with a purchase. All of those things can be included in a review, whether good or bad. Feedback is absolutely necessary for growth and development, and technology definitely helps with that. Here is my last source for the final real-life example. You're welcome to go look at that website, and thanks for watching.